Welcome to the Military Wire with Mike Schindler. This is the podcast where we interview America's most elite men and women who have served this country. We share their stories of overcoming, their proven lessons in leadership, and their journey to finding mission and purpose. Today's topic is so relevant to every listener that has ever transitioned out of the military: how to leverage LinkedIn to land your next mission, aka job. Our guest, Sarah Roberts, who I'm very excited about. We've got some long-time history, but Sarah Roberts is the head of military and veteran programs at LinkedIn. She's going to be unpacking this topic for us. But before I introduce Sarah, I want to put a quick shout out to this segment's sponsors, Honest Talk International and Circle for Parents. Both these organizations have a vetted network of experts who are standing by to help our listeners navigate issues related to nutrition, parenting, fitness, relationships, intimacy. I encourage you guys to visit their sites, honesttalkinternational.com and circleforparents.com. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Well, I know that you're going to be heading to San Francisco. I know that you and I know each other from your Team Red, White, and Blue days. And now you're getting ready to leverage your skills, your talents, your leadership at LinkedIn. This is very exciting. I think it's so important that the audience knows who you are, understands who you are, your expertise, because it is my experience with you is you're so unassuming, so humble, and yet you're so accomplished in so many areas. I mean, West Point graduate of Gonzaga, worked at Amazon, Microsoft. You and your husband have beautiful children, and you're now making a difference on LinkedIn. And I've just got to ask you this before we get into some of the detailed question. What inspires you to keep pressing forward to grow and make impact?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So there's a lot of things, but I would say as a veteran who's transitioned and experienced several career changes in my life, I can only hope that sharing a piece of my story helps pave the way for future generations of veterans. I know I personally use LinkedIn at every time I made a career pivot. So also I used LinkedIn as a talent acquisition leader when I was at Amazon and Microsoft, but I just feel blessed in so many ways. And I feel that I am just merely a steward of those who have invested in my own growth and mentorship along the way, starting with parents, teachers, coaches, and I truly believe it's my personal charter to pay it forward. I find so much value in serving the military community, and my hope is to contribute to something bigger than myself in so many ways. And that's truly what brought me to LinkedIn. Our mission of connecting every member of the global workforce to economic opportunity inspires me to share what LinkedIn has to offer. I've had both personal and professional success using LinkedIn as an employer and as a job seeker. And ultimately, I care deeply about our ability to have a positive impact in connecting veterans to jobs and bringing people together.
Man, I love that. I mean, I love that you used it as your own tool in transition. Like every time, like to what you said, a career pivot. And I think it's fair to say, and certainly in the transition process, we've seen this, that LinkedIn is an essential tool really for aiding in an effective transition, certainly building one's network. And I know from personal experience, from professional experience, what have you found to be some of the common mistakes people make with LinkedIn?
Oh, that's a great question, Mike. So I would say that members have the most success on LinkedIn when they have a complete profile. So super simple. Start with a profile picture and complete your professional summary or heading. When you think about it from a recruiter's perspective, I mean, this is prime real estate to describe who you are and your current role. Additionally, I think members who have a profile picture, the data shows receive 21 times more views and 9 more connection requests. Using a professional summary is really like your 40-word elevator pitch. It can spark an employer's interest in 20 seconds. So super important to focus on. Those are the 2 areas that you could definitely highlight as the most important. To take it a step further, I think ensuring that you've highlighted your top skills on your profile. The skills that you choose ultimately serve as a crosswalk to job descriptions. They can help you identify areas that you can highlight in addition to potential gaps as you start your job search and looking at different job descriptions. Lastly, once you have a complete profile, I always say consider evolving. Don't ever look at your LinkedIn profile the same as you would look at your resume as a one and done deal. Think of your activity and presence on the LinkedIn platform as an opportunity to contribute, comment, like, share, interact with your network, and never underestimate the value of networking and building your professional voice on LinkedIn by sharing stories, following company pages, using it as a strategic tool to connect with others in your network.
So is it important to visit LinkedIn daily? Is that what I hear you saying? Just don't put it out there and expect the universe to pay attention to you. You've really got to take an active role in your LinkedIn profile. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely. If you think of it from like a relationship standpoint, you really need to nurture your network as you would with other relationships in your life. And so even though it's on a professional platform, it's important to keep those connections alive and well and show an interest in what other people are sharing on the platform so that it doesn't just come across as one-sided. So I think that's really important to just think about as you think about the importance of interacting on your LinkedIn profile. The other piece that I think is important is, we often use Facebook and Instagram on really a multi-day basis as you pick up your mobile device. Do the same thing with LinkedIn. Hop on LinkedIn, see what news is trending and what's available, and take an interest in that and use it as an opportunity to engage with other people and grow your network even outside of your own ecosystem.
So this is good because you've kind of piqued my interest in this. Probably like you, I get a number of folks that reach out on a daily basis. I want to say selling me on something, on some sort of service, and I know there's this balance between selling and solving. And we know that companies hire people, they hire us, they hire individuals, someone to help them solve a problem. I was interviewing Call of Duty just recently, and they were talking about a study that they just shared that experience, perseverance, leadership, directly relevant skills, top of the list, desirable qualities for employers. That's what they find attractive in veterans. And so how do veterans position their experience and their other skills and abilities without sounding like they're selling, but rather solving on LinkedIn? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think there's a really important piece of advice that I always received, and it's to approach relationships and networking with that voice of authenticity. So ultimately, I think military leaders have so many skills as a result of their service. Soft skills are in high demand, and LinkedIn's 2018 Emerging Jobs Report, we looked at data for the last 5 years to highlight the top jobs and skills that are growing most rapidly around the country. So ultimately, as service members transition, they can be very natural and authentic to highlight these skills through their LinkedIn profile without coming across as trying to sell themselves. So skills like communication, leadership, teamwork, planning, organizational time management skills, multitasking, it's just really to name a few. But we frequently hear from employers that these are the top skills they're looking for when evaluating candidates and looking to make hires on their team. So you can naturally use your soft skills. They're among the fastest growing unique skills. And using your profile to highlight these and your experience is just a wonderful way to emphasize what you've obtained as a result of your military service.
See, this is good. So, I mean, in some ways, Sarah, this seems a little bit overwhelming. Like all the stuff that you started telling me, building your profile and all this. So are there people standing by that can actually help people? I know part of this happens in transition assistance, but if somebody wanted to engage somebody and say, hey, listen, can you review my LinkedIn profile? What do I need to do to make this thing stand out? Are there resources available for veterans to do that?
Yeah, so veterans can definitely, as part of their transition, they can join or be a part of organizations like Hiring Our Heroes. They actually offer transition summits, and LinkedIn 101 training is a part of that. So I would encourage veterans that are transitioning that feel like stepping into LinkedIn is a little bit out of their comfort zone to leverage some of those organizations that really focus on that transition window, because LinkedIn has been integrated in the veteran space as part of that transition story. For example, we're going to a transition career summit in Fort Riley at the end of June, and we're bringing an entire team of LinkedIn professionals, and we're going to do a coaching session and LinkedIn profile reviews. So I would encourage folks to seek those opportunities. And then also there's this opportunity to ask for help. It's very uncomfortable for military leaders to kind of remove that armor and, to remove that pride and, approach this transition with humility and just say, I need help. I don't know how to do this. And what I've found over and over again in this space, which I find super special, is that people really care for and support each other. And the minute somebody or a veteran asks for help, there's like 10 people there that are standing up saying, yeah, I'll absolutely help you with your resume, polish your LinkedIn profile, give you interview feedback. So I think the biggest piece starts with a veteran and kind of owning their transition, but also being willing to ask for help in the areas where they feel uncomfortable.
I think that's so good. That's so good. It's so important too. I know that even today, I sometimes like, man, I don't know if I really want to ask for help. But to your point, owning the fact that you might not know something and reach out to somebody that's an expert or better skilled in that arena. It can fast track your experience. So it's such great advice. I want to get to some exciting news. Your team reached out and said LinkedIn is expanding the military and veterans program to now offer LinkedIn Premium to military spouses in all branches of the armed forces, as well as caregivers, veteran caregivers, and FRI scholars. So this is pretty exciting. I'm familiar with LinkedIn Premium, but unpack LinkedIn Premium. Why is that so valuable, and why is that so important now that military spouses can take advantage of it?
Yeah. So Mike, let me just first say, I know I had shared this earlier, but during every career pivot or transition, I personally use LinkedIn. And during the course of the last year, even before I was welcomed on board at LinkedIn, I was using LinkedIn Premium, and I found it tremendously beneficial. So ultimately with LinkedIn Premium, military spouses and veterans have access to LinkedIn's networking and job search tools. They also have access to an online library of more than 13,000 learning courses, including courses specifically designed to help military spouses succeed in their careers. So why is this important? As we were highlighting the skills that veterans and spouses can put on their profile, if you think of mapping that to a job description, and if there's particular skills that you see are missing, you can use your LinkedIn Premium to jump into LinkedIn Learning, take a LinkedIn Learning course to help fill that gap, or you might even find out that you have that skill set. You just need to be able to rephrase it to help add those skills to your LinkedIn profile, so that when you're looking at jobs and a recruiter is looking for candidates that have skills for a particular job, you're one of the people that pops up based off of the top skills that you've listed. So I think the LinkedIn Learning piece is a huge win, in addition to all of the other resources that LinkedIn Premium offers, just from a networking and search tool perspective.
And this is like a huge savings too, right? I mean, is this being offered free, or is there a cost to this, or what goes on with this?
Yeah, so there's no cost associated. Literally, all we ask that folks do is to sign up for LinkedIn Premium, you go to our website, so www.linkedin.com/military. From there, you can select which service applies to you. So if you're a veteran, if you're a DoD military spouse, if you're a FRI scholar, a VA caregiver, and you can select, and ultimately you'll be navigated to the respective point of contact that will help assist you in getting access to your LinkedIn Premium. So 1 year free for the duration of that transition window, which will hopefully give users the opportunity to leverage LinkedIn and the capacity to help them in that transition or job search.
That is so cool. I love that. And what I find pretty interesting, and I'm sure you guys have data on this too, is those that are transitioning. And I know some of the studies say this, and I want to see if you can unpack this, because you've had multiple careers, different opportunities come your way. Is how, by using this tool, can those who are transitioning find the right next job? Because I know some of the studies say that a good majority, over the majority of those that take their first job, leave within the first year. So how can this tool aid in maybe eliminating that or reducing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think one, just the number, like the resources that are available from when I transitioned in 2010 to what's available now in 2019, the space has really pivoted. And I think as a result, people and veterans particularly, have so many more resources at their fingertips, including LinkedIn. But because LinkedIn just offers such an incredible ecosystem and bringing veterans to employers and putting jobs in one place, it really works well to kind of mirror the two up. So I would say that, as a transitioning service member that is, looking for that next job opportunity, using the ability to really seek for informationals, network with other people, take the time. I mean, there's more dedication to that transition window. the more that you can plan and network and ask questions and ask for help and really plan for that, the better off you're going to be, so that you're not one of those folks that finds yourself 6 months into a job and you're like, oh, this really isn't the right fit. The other thing that I really recommend for folks is, if they're able to jump into LinkedIn, is they can start searching and following company pages. They can join groups. My point earlier about the veteran network being really special, I think that, the more people that you can ask questions about certain industries or certain spaces or certain sectors, and then what the company cultures are like, or what's the actual jobs that you're interested in, you're going to be able to better distill down what's going to be the right fit for you. Because I think that that's ultimately what you're trying to tease out as you transition, is where you can land successfully, but ultimately find that sense of professional fulfillment.
So walk me through, and that's powerful advice. Walk me through when you're building your network, because I think this is pretty important. I think some people just want to add everybody right into their network, and I think it's probably more important to be more strategic. So what advice do you have for those saying, listen, if you're going to build your network, here's one of the primary ways that you should build it?
Yeah, so I would say for a transitioning service member, so I'll just give you a little bit of data. So over 300,000 companies use LinkedIn to find candidates, and customers rate LinkedIn as the #1 site in delivering quality hires. So begin with completing your profile, highlighting your skills and experience. By signing up for premium, you can start building your network by following company pages, joining relevant groups. From there, you can start growing your network, like reach out to people that work in certain industries or leaders that have certain jobs, or you might be interested in a certain geography and you're trying to better understand that because you're stationed somewhere else. Start following companies that might interest you. I had talked earlier about, being active on LinkedIn, but those are all ways to really start engaging your network through your own activity. But be really strategic about it. I always tell folks, you never want to just blast a bunch of in-mails to folks that you don't have any relationship or connection with. But look for that common opportunity or that thread where you could start a conversation. It might be, you were stationed at the same duty location together, or you served in the same unit, or you're the same alumni from a particular school you went to. But look for those common threads of interest that you can start a conversation, and be really strategic about that. It just really goes back to, relationship building 101, so that you don't come across as selling something, but you really can present that authentic voice and say, hey, I'm getting ready to transition. I'm really interested in learning more about this particular industry and this geography. Would you be open to a 30-minute informational as I, explore what opportunities I want to pursue? And just being really authentic about it, I think that opens the doors in terms of really creating that authentic connection as you look at transitioning, and, just being really thoughtful about how you network in this space.
Oh, see, that's so good. So you talk a lot about the transition service members, and great advice on that front. You said over 300,000 companies use LinkedIn. What advice, or what type of conversations do you have with these companies, if any, when you're talking about things to look for in veterans? I mean, are there ways that you guys coach these companies, look for this, or, let's talk about some of the maybe misconceptions or the myths around veterans. What advice do you have for these companies that are looking for veterans?
Yeah, so as we engage with employers that are looking to hire military members or veterans into their company, one of the pieces that I always start with is there's 2.3 million veterans on LinkedIn. They are one of the most active and engaged groups on the LinkedIn platform. So a great way to find military talent is through LinkedIn Talent Solutions, otherwise known as LinkedIn Recruiter. But when searching through filters, you can actually select U.S. military service member, and then you can narrow down your search criteria from there. So it might be a particular geography, or military members that have particular skills, or they might have a particular clearance. So using LinkedIn Recruiter is super beneficial because it has an increased in-mail response of over 50%. Additionally, over 90% of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn Talent Solutions to search for top talent. So I think it's a really great way for companies to connect with military candidates. It's just a great place to start and really start that conversation. The other thing that I would offer up is, as if you have somebody that works for a company that hasn't really explored the military space, is to start joining some of those military relevant groups. It might be Student Veterans of America. It might be, the Veteran Mentor Network that LinkedIn has, and use those as opportunities to really start asking questions and understanding, the military candidates, if that's an area that you want to explore from a staffing perspective.
See, that's good. And if our military and veteran families are paying attention to this, they'll also know how to maybe what keywords to put into their profiles as well, right? Based on what companies are searching for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the most important piece that if I can't emphasize this enough is really going back to that skills crosswalk. So when I look at things from a recruiter lens, I have a job description and key skills that I'm looking to hire somebody into that has those skills. And so for a military member, being able to not just translate your skills, but being able to look at those jobs and say, okay, I have these particular skills that I can then emphasize or highlight on my LinkedIn profile. And so, that's a really great way to then start that conversation, because as a recruiter goes in and they're looking through their search filters, they're going to select those particular skills that are relevant to that job. And so being able to highlight that on your profile is really important.
This is so good, Sarah. This is such good information. I want to be sure that our listeners get connected to you or to LinkedIn so that they can really take advantage of what's going on. So why don't you go ahead and give us, again, the ways that they can get connected to LinkedIn Premium, and if they want to connect with somebody, who should they connect with and how do they get connected?
Yeah, so the best way to get connected with the LinkedIn Premium offer is to go to www.linkedin.com/military. And then you can also follow me on LinkedIn as I share kind of relevant content and information in the space, in addition to what LinkedIn is also working on. You can shoot me a connection request with a message or an in-mail message. So those are all great ways to reach out and either connect with our team or connect with me personally.
Oh, this is so good. Sarah, thank you for being a guest on this show. This is such great information. Audience, be sure that you take advantage of this tool. LinkedIn is a powerful tool. It will help you in your transition. As you heard Sarah talk about, there's great resources on LinkedIn. Be sure you check it out. Thanks for listening. Sarah, thank you for being a guest.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks so much, Mike, for the opportunity. This was wonderful.